I wish I could tell you why grindy games are an itch I can never scratch. Maybe it's the constant sense of progression, always chasing that next upgrade. Maybe it's the finely tuned serotonin injection machine that keeps you coming back for just one more drop. Or maybe it's the sheer thrill of staring down an endless list of tasks, knowing there's always something to master, craft, or conquer. Whatever it is, one thing's for sure. There's never enough time to play them all. And yet here I am, dying for a chance to get my hands on the biggest games and biggest updates coming out in 2025. In this video, we're going to look at what 2025 holds for fans of grindy games from across the various genres. Looter shooters, ARPGs, MMOs, action games, you name it. Let's get to the most exciting bit right off the bat. New grindy games releasing in 2025. The headliner, at least this early in the year, is easily Monster Hunter Wilds. This is going to be a big game for me and a big game for the channel. And while I'm not claiming to be some endgame expert who grinds Apex monsters like it's my second job, I have sunk a solid 200, 300 hours into both Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter World. That's despite not having finished Rise yet. Whoops, put it down. Didn't end up coming back to it. But what keeps me coming back to the Monster Hunter franchise isn't just the hunts. It's the depth, those intricate systems, the endless optimization, the fun of figuring out how to squeeze out just a little bit more to make your next fight that much easier. And Wilds looks poised to deliver even more of that. Can't wait to dive in. So many of those monsters look interesting. The weapon changes, the balance changes, new systems, new mechanics. Really excited for it. So you can definitely expect videos including a beginner's guide, things I wish I had known earlier, explanations of the game's various systems, how to optimize said systems, and things like that. It's going to be a ton of fun. Meanwhile, for ARPG fans, 2025 is shaping up to be pretty massive because Grinding Gear Games plans to release the full version of Path of Exile 2 sometime this year. If you're the type who can deal with the early access chaos, those complete rapid-fire balance changes and seasonal resets, you can already jump into it actually for just $30. Even in early access, it's got that classic PoE grind, complex build, endless loot, challenge for even the most hardcore players. All of it's there. It's not for the faint of heart, obviously, but if you love endlessly tweaking your build to perfection, Path of Exile 2 will scratch that itch. Honestly, I'm going to wait to dive in until the full game comes out. I swore off early access games forever ago just because by the time the game comes out, if I've played too much early access, a lot of times I don't even want to play the game anymore. So I'm going to wait till it's done, complete, better balance, no more random resets, all those kinks are worked out, everything that people are complaining is worked out. It'll be much more enjoyable that way. Another game coming out this year. While it may not be a live service game compared to most other games in this video, Borderlands 4 is peak looter shooter grindy game experience. If you watched my Borderlands 3 video from last year, I'm surprisingly really excited to get more details on what's next for the franchise. The games are definitely far from perfect, but honestly there's just something really nice about having a game with a definitive finish that isn't just an infinite treadmill with content coming out forever that you will never catch up on. And finally, maybe my most controversial pick, Grand Theft Auto 6, or more likely GTA Online. And yeah, I know, GTA Online isn't exactly everyone's favorite experience, especially in public lobbies where chaos is everywhere. But hear me out. Ever since Rockstar introduced private lobbies, the idea of the grind has become so much more bearable. Now you can focus on building out your empire, grinding for your cargo warehouses, running your nightclubs, managing businesses, and diving into the dozen other systems Rockstar has layered into the game over the years. For that reason, and that reason alone, I can only hope that Rockstar does something similar with GTA 6. I genuinely love being in the world of GTA. I love the way it plays. I love the way that Rockstar handles this stuff. I love the random things that they add to the game, like the casinos and the various PvE activities. Doing them alone, doing them with friends, all of it's really enjoyable. So let's hope that private lobbies are a thing that the game launches with, rather than being something added nearly a decade down the line, because otherwise I'm not going to bother putting up with that. Like, when people have airstrikes in public lobbies, like, I'm just not going to bother. If you haven't kept up, what a lot of people don't know is that GTA Online has gone full live service. There's a full-on weekly reset, complete with car sales, property discounts, weapon deals, daily and weekly objectives, a whole lot more. But if you're playing it solo or with friends in private lobbies, it's way more fun than most people give it credit for. I do genuinely find myself wishing I had played the game more after they added those private lobbies, but with 6 around the corner, like, it seems wasted time to jump in now. Kind of missed that boat, unfortunately. But as you all well know, new games aren't everything. There's also the existing army of grindy games that will 100% get major updates in 2025. Take Warframe, for example. No shortage of things to do here. New frames to unlock, weapons to craft, endless missions to grind. And Digital Extremes is always rolling out updates to keep players busy. While there aren't specific expansion details for 2025 just yet, if you've been playing Warframe, you know how this goes. Regular updates, new content drops, and community-driven events that keep the game alive. It's one of those games where you could sink hundreds and thousands of hours into and feel like you still have more to do. I haven't played the game consistently in a while, but every time I dip back in, I'm reminded why it has such a dedicated community. There's a reason it's still going strong while games like Destiny suffer. Definitely check it out. Look at Warframe 1999, which came out late last year. Keep an eye out for new updates coming this year because there will undoubtedly be some. Meanwhile, over in Elder Scrolls Online land, 2025 is a pretty huge year. Why? Because ZeniMax is ditching their usual chapter-based expansions in favor of a seasonal content model. Think smaller, more frequent updates rather than that one big yearly drop. So if you haven't kept up, what are the studio's focuses for 2025? They've said there will still be a new zone, but a lot of the focus seems to be on addressing long-standing performance issues with PvP, Cyrodiil Zone, increasing the difficulty of overworld combat, improvements to combat animations in FX. They said they want to experiment more with zones like Craglorn, which is an endgame zone that's difficult, but not so difficult that you can't get away with making public groups with random people. And they've also promised new stories for factions including the Dark Brotherhood, Thieves Guild, Fighters Guild, and Mages Guild. Personally, I'm curious to see how this approach pans out. On one hand, it means more consistent content to keep the game fresh. On the other hand, it might be a sign of the game starting to struggle financially. We'll have to see. If you prefer a more collaborative grind, then Helldivers 2 might be right up your alley. While we don't know what the devs have planned for the year, or at least I don't. I haven't played the game a ton, maybe a few dozen hours. They've recently released an all-new faction in the game's biggest update yet, which might explain why we don't know a ton about 2025 yet. But it's safe to say there will be plenty of war bonds to complete, upgrades to grind, and new gear to unlock. This is, again, another game where I love the way it plays, I love the systems. I just have not had the time to play it. And trundling along in the background is Fallout 76, a game which you've probably forgotten about, but has completely turned things around at this point. It's honestly a crime that I haven't gotten around to playing it yet. 2025 is looking promising. Season 20 is on the horizon. They're adding a new ghoul transformation so you can play as a ghoul. They're adding camp pets, and they're even adding a fishing mechanic. Again, this is a game where the updates are relatively smaller, but overall it has added up over time, and it's something worth checking out. I don't think most of it has gone away. Like, it's all still there. Go check it out. Go give it a try whenever you have a chance. And of course, all of this isn't even taking into account all of the games that I can't talk about because I've never had a chance to even boot them up. But fans of Palworld, Once Human, and games like that are undoubtedly excited about what their games have to offer in the next 12 months. I'll let those people chime in down in the comments. Let us know what's going on with those. It's honestly a shame that we don't have unlimited time to play everything. Discovering new games and understanding new systems is so much fun for me. But alas, I guess us grindy game fans have to pick and choose. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to give a quick look at what 2025 holds, what games I'm keeping an eye on, what things I'm looking forward to, and maybe give you folks a resource to discuss what's coming up. If you want to support the channel, one of the best things you can do is free, and that is to leave a like, a comment, or even just comment a single emoji. You know, it's funny, in the last video I asked people to leave an emoji just to help with things, and then whenever people did that, I found myself wondering why they were leaving just an emoji and what that was supposed to mean. Sometimes you just completely forget things that you say in these things. Oh, and here's this video's question. What grindy games are you planning on diving into in 2025? What are you most excited for? Let me know. Let your other grindy game fans know. There's a million things out there. There's undoubtedly a ton of stuff flying under the radar that we'd all love to get our hands on. If you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below. But for now though, I think that's it. I'll see you next time.